Rumor has it there's a ghost universe hidden deep inside the original Super Mario 64, and the creepiest part is you can actually enter it. But those hidden worlds are only the beginning of a disturbing list of secrets that has unsettled players for years. From unexplained apparitions to corrupted files, here you have the 15 darkest myths in Super Mario. Believe it or not, you can die during the credits of Super Mario Galaxy 2 if you grab the bee mushroom that appears in one of the scenes. All you have to do is keep flying toward the camera without touching the ground in the snow-covered galaxy. Before long, you will cross the level boundary and die. The death screen suddenly appears, everything fades to black, and the music stops. But your pointer stays right there. It does not matter that Mario has just saved the universe yet again. Rules are rules, and leaving the map means death for the plumber. Best of all, this is not a glitch or a bug. The game simply does not disable the physics during the credits, so if you go looking for the void, you are going to find it. And since we're talking about deaths that should never happen, Super Mario Sunshine has one that is particularly cruel. From episode 6 onward in Peanut Park, flying enemies called Green, Swipe, and Stuss swoop down and steal Mario's cap. Without it, Mario slowly begins losing health from the scorching heat. But here's where things get really disturbing. If you start talking to a character in this state and leave the dialogue hanging, Mario's health will continue draining until he collapses on the ground. However, the game will not register his death until you close the dialogue box. So while Mario lies there dying, the character just keeps chatting away as if everything were perfectly normal. You know, like anyone would. That said, no accidental death compares to the myth surrounding what Mario may have been getting away with since 1985. The original Super Mario Bros. Manual revealed something the game itself never told you. The Koopas were a tribe skilled in black magic who invaded the Mushroom Kingdom and transformed its inhabitants into stones, bricks, and even the bushes scattered throughout the levels. The implication is horrifying, because every brick block Mario smashes to pieces could be one of those citizens. In fact, someone actually counted them, and World 1-2 alone contains more than 390 blocks, or potentially more than 390 toads slaughtered by Mario. The truth, however, is that another page of the manual clarifies that only the unbreakable blocks containing power-ups are toads, meaning they would all be safe. And if you're wondering what happens in later Mario games where those blocks can be destroyed, rescuing Peach at the end of the first game would have broken the spell, so the toads were never turned into blocks again. There is another rather macabre myth you can test for yourself in the Plumber's Classic games. In the first level of Super Mario 64, Bob-omb Battlefield, the trench before you climb up the mountain has 2 iron balls rolling back and forth. But once you defeat King Bob-omb, that changes. When you return, you discover that 3 balls are now rolling there instead of 2. It is a very direct way of suggesting that the 3rd ball is the king's dead body, condemned to roll through the same trench forever. Something similar happens to King Whomp in Whomp's Forest. After you kill him, it looks as though the remains of his body were used to build a lonely brick tower. Speaking of loneliness, Super Mario Bros. Wonder has a talking flower condemned to remain locked inside a room forever.
Where did you come from? I'm so happy you're here. It's scary being alone. Stay with me.
Counting the days and terrified that it'll be alone for all eternity.
Don't leave me!
Things are not much better for the Goombas. The myth that they attack Mario by biting him has been confirmed, and they even have their own natural predator, the Mama. When Mario transforms into a Goomba, he can experience firsthand what it feels like to be eaten alive. Then there are the enemies that seem invincible. One myth claims that the Big Boos in Super Mario World are among the few enemies you cannot defeat by any conventional means, not with jumps, shells, your cape, or even a nuclear bomb. But they have one weakness almost nobody knows about. If you slide down a slope or staircase toward one, the sliding attack can kill the Big Boo. Mario's most powerful weapon is not the superstar, it's his big butts in a cave.
cannot lie.
And get this, Super Mario Maker 2 has an Easter egg that is as dark as it is funny. In the editor, place a door and repeatedly tap it with the cursor as though you were knocking. After a few taps, Weird Mario will open it. Although there was a myth that he was absent from the game, this deformed, stretched out version of Mario peeks through in different poses depending on the game style and how many times you keep knocking. He is not always alone either. He can also appear riding a Yoshi that looks as though it has not eaten in days. This disturbing character originated from a bug during the development of Super Mario Maker. The team found Mario's accidental elongated body so funny that they turned it into a secret feature in the game. But when it comes to things hiding where you least expect them, Super Mario 3D World contains one of the most unsettling scenes in the entire series. The myth that there are zombies in the game is real. In World 3-3, if you collect every clock and wait beside the goal pole until fewer than 10 seconds remain, you will see a stampede of the undead. A crowd of pixelated Luigis appears, running between the graves in the cemetery in the background. They use Luigi's fire form sprite from the original Super Mario Bros., which Nintendo hid there as a nod to the Year of Luigi celebration in 2013, though we are pretty sure there were far less disturbing ways to celebrate it. Zombie Luigi is not the only silent figure that appears in a haunted area. Besides the mysterious UFO hidden in World 1-3, the ghost houses in Super Mario 3D Land live up to their legends by hiding a spirit you can only see if you are patient. At the end of the level, instead of touching the goal pole, stand still beside the fence in the background for around 30 seconds. A ghostly figure with a face resembling an elongated Shy Guy will slowly appear and stare at you. You can find it at the end of World 4-4 and again near the beginning of World 8-4, just beyond the first window. That is no coincidence. In Japan, the number 4 is associated with death, and Nintendo wanted to demonstrate it with this Easter egg. To top it all off, the ghost is listed in the game files as Trick Teresa Goal Ghost, so at least now you know what to call it. And while we are on the subject of spirits, Nintendo has never fully explained where the boos, or any ghosts in the Mario universe, come from. But the descriptions Professor Egad gives in Luigi's Mansion 2 offer a clue that may send a chill down your spine. He talks about the ghosts as though they were once real people who died. One of them is even described as a medieval knight searching for a princess. If we take that implication seriously, the boos you have encountered throughout the series for decades could actually be the spirits of deceased Mushroom Kingdom residents. Officially, however, Nintendo still classifies the ghost's origin as a mystery. When you think about it, that may be the most unsettling answer they could have given. With that out of the way, let's move on to the two most monumental moments in Mario's entire history. In Super Mario Galaxy, after Bowser amasses near godlike power to reshape the cosmos however he pleases, defeating him causes his galaxy to collapse into a supermassive black hole that begins swallowing everything in its path. Peach's castle, the Comet Observatory, and entire fleets of airships. To stop it, every Luma dives into the black hole one by one in a mass sacrifice. The game's final mission is literally called The Fate of the Universe. Then, as Mario drifts through a telescopic void, Rosalina speaks about the cycle of death and rebirth among the stars, while what sounds like the muffled cries of newborn babies can be heard in the background. That is the sign the universe and the Lumas are being born again. And if you collect all 120 power stars, an extra scene shows one of those Lumas peeking into view, alive and well. This entire sequence is a tribute to the Little Prince, and is probably the darkest yet most emotional moment in the entire series. And it makes sense that it came from this game, because the Comet Observatory's library contains a storybook that Rosalina reads to the Lumas, and it confirms the theory that her mother died when she was very young. The story follows a little girl who journeys into space to help a young Luma search for his mother, all while hiding the fact that she has lost her own. In the telescope, the girl finally breaks down and tearfully admits that her mother is sleeping beneath the tree on the hill. Reading between the lines, Rosalina is telling us that her mother is dead and buried there. In a dream, her mother promises that she will become a star and watch over her. Director Yoshiaki Koizumi later admitted in an interview that he secretly wrote the story at night because he felt that something like this was not allowed in a Mario game. Good thing Miyamoto never caught him in the act. Now we need to travel even further back, because Super Mario 64 64 is filled with parallel universes that exist alongside the player's own. Because of an error in the way the game calculates Mario's position, ghostly copies of the map exist roughly 65,000 units away from the plumber, invisible and unreachable under normal conditions. But with enough speed, Mario can travel through these parallel universes, jumping from one to the next. Yes, every level in Super Mario 64 contains endless spectral copies of itself floating in the void, and it's one of the most unsettling things hidden in the game. Years after its release, it was proven that the phenomenon even works on a real Nintendo 64 without cheats, meaning Mario 64's parallel universes truly exist and have been hiding inside the cartridge all along. For our next Mario myth, we have one you may have seen buried beneath countless creepypastas, and this one is real. In Super Mario Odyssey, once you set foot in the Cascade Kingdom and grab your first Power Moon, most players head straight back for the Odyssey. But if you make your way to a particular corner beside the waterfall and perform a precise sequence of moves to break out of bounds, you will stumble across something deeply unsettling. A frozen Cappy, perfectly still and buried beneath the ground in the middle of nowhere. He does not move or react, and nobody knows for sure why Nintendo left that model there, but be careful, because if you approach him and make contact, Mario dies instantly. But here is the truly disturbing part, and what separates this myth from an urban legend. There is no possessed Cappy and no murderous evil twin. What actually happens is that many out-of-bounds areas contain invisible death barriers, flat plains that kill Mario as though he had fallen into a bottomless pit, and this poor Cappy happens to be sitting right inside one. And for our final myth, we have a theory that fans have debated for years, and it involves Luigi's Mansion. In the game, the fortune-telling ghost Madame Clairvoya is shocked to discover that Bowser still exists, since Mario had supposedly defeated him once and for all in the previous game. King Boo, who makes his debut in the series here, also holds a grudge against Mario from a past encounter that, in theory, should never have happened. Putting those clues together, many fans believe that this King Boo is actually the vengeful ghost of a dead Bowser, which would explain why the game's final boss is King Boo controlling a mechanical Bowser suit. Nintendo has never confirmed or denied the theory, so for now, the mystery remains. Next time you play a Nintendo classic, remember, some secrets are better left buried. But if you're brave enough, there are more mysteries waiting for you right here. Subscribe if you want to survive what comes next, and remember, we'll see you on the other side.